The Force be with every single one of you guys. This is a very special video of mine because my dad is ranking every single Star Wars film. This guy showed me the original trilogy back in the day, and he hasn't kept up with Star Wars and it doesn't really remember most of them, so this is kind of like a first time watch for him, and I hope you guys do enjoy this video. Do understand though, he does not remember everything, so he was just having the most amount of fun as he possibly can, and as like we mentioned in this video, we are planning to do more like this if you guys do really enjoy this ranking, so please hit that like and subscribe button if you guys are new here, and comment down below and let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the video. Where's your ranking? What are your parents' ranking of the Star Wars films? Let's discuss it, but without further ado, enjoy the video and have fun. Welcome back everyone to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be going over and my dad's going to be ranking every single Star Wars film from worst to best. Now, you have seen most of these Star Wars films, correct, in the past?
A couple of them, yes.
Because you took me to see Revenge of the Sith, you showed me Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, the original trilogy, and the newer trilogy you really weren't that involved in, right?
Nope.
You kind of gave up on it, correct?
Yep, gave up.
So, and this was fun, because I came home, and he's just sitting there watching Phantom Menace, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yes, I'm trying to watch them all in some order.
Yeah, so he started from chronological order, and we're going to be ranking all 11 of them. So if you guys are new here, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We love doing ranking stuff over here on this channel. Love talking movies and geeky content. If you guys want to be a geek like me, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on content like this over here on a daily basis, as well as comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts. What is your ranking of the Star Wars film? What would your dad rank the Star Wars films as? Let's discuss it. And of course, we have my dog who looks like a little Ewok, and my other dog might jump in and join in as well. So Dad, let's get into your ranking right now because this is a interesting ranking. So coming down at your number 11 is Revenge of the Sith, which most notably for me is actually my number 4. So I'm curious to hear, why is this your bottom one? Because this is kind of controversial. This is supposed to be the best prequel film, and it is your least favorite Star Wars film. When I looked at your list, I said, oh my God, what happened?
Right, I don't know. I just did not like that movie.
Is this the only one you don't like?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's at the bottom, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you can kind of like for me, Attack of the Clones is my least favorite, but I still kind of enjoy some parts of it. So tell me just about it. Like, what is wrong with it? They have some great action set pieces. It has General Grievous. You guys know how much I love General Grievous. It's the conclusion. It's him becoming Darth Vader. It's Yoda's flipping around. What's wrong with this movie?
Now you're reminding me all about all those great scenes, but yeah, I just wasn't that into the movie. Every time I've watched it, it's been a tough movie for me.
Yeah, I remember you took me out of school, like second grade or something, to take me to go see this, and you slept through the whole entire thing, guys. The whole entire thing, he slept through it. But yeah, it's funny. This is your least favorite, and a lot of people love this because it actually has the highest Rotten Tomatoes score out of all the prequel series, and it's interesting because this is the one that kind of seemed to get back to what Star Wars was when the prequels were coming out. Phantom Menace was a disappointment to many fans. Attack of the Clones was a disappointment to many fans, and then Revenge of the Sith finally came out, and it's like, okay, this is what it's going to be about. Was there anything that you like? What were some of your favorite moments about Revenge of the Sith exactly then?
Oh, I mean, Yoda getting down, right? I mean, who doesn't like that? Seeing the little dude, take on the big guys and stuff. So that was cool. And Grievous, I knew he was one of your favorites as a kid. So
I love Grievous so much. He deserves so much better. Who's your favorite character so far in this film?
I'm still, old school Solo. Okay.
All right, well, we'll get to those soon. So coming down at your number 10 is my least favorite, and that is Attack of the Clones. This is above Revenge of the Sith. Why? This has one of the worst romantic storylines ever. I mean, don't you think their chemistry is just complete cringy?
Well, yes, I didn't like Attack of the Clones. So, what's wrong?
Because you say you don't like Attack of the Clones, but then you said, oh, there's some cool badass moments in Revenge of the Sith. Guys, this is why this video is called My Dad Ranks the Star Wars Films, because I knew this was going to happen.
I suck.
You don't suck, but so Attack of the Clones. Obviously the worst part about this film is their romance.
This was your least favorite movie?
Absolutely. But it's weird. I've seen this one the most in the last 5 years. I've done probably like 6 collaborations with other people.
Okay.
I don't get it. Like, everyone asks for me to talk. Like, me and my friend Ren, who we do a podcast with, you guys should go watch that, Geeks at the Round Table. Me and him did a whole collaboration on this. It's like almost, the first cut of our review was like 2 hours long, just talking shit about the movie, and it was funny. But then that review actually got corrupted, so we had to refilm it all. It was like 30 minutes, but it was still a great discussion. But we came up with a drinking game. The next time I watch this movie, I want to do this drinking game. Every time Anakin mentions how much he hates sand. Did you recognize that in this film?
No, didn't really pay attention.
Yeah, he talks about it a lot. And that was kind of the fun thing with it, is Attack of the Clones. Easily the best part about this film is everything with Obi-Wan Kenobi going in the background, finding Jango Fett, finding the clones, everything about that. Were those some of your favorite moments?
Yes, of course.
Did you like the action sequence between Obi-Wan and Jango Fett as they're fighting?
Yeah.
And that's a cool moment because, obviously it gets the finale of this when the clones exactly do not attack for until like the last 20 minutes, and it's like, why is this film called Attack of the Clones?
Right, forever. It took forever, man. I did not think it was going to happen.
Yeah, same here. But Yoda comes in, saves the Jedi, and it's the only film in where the Jedi Order actually works together. Pretty surprising.
Right.
And it's easily the best part of the whole film as well. So there's some cool things in there where you have not seen the Clone Wars animated show yet. We're not going to have the Clone Wars movie in here yet. Do you actually want to check that out?
Yeah, I think I kind of do. Okay.
Because it's really cool now because the show takes place in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And the final season, which just premiered this year, absolutely fantastic. Some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen in that last season. The last 4 episodes alone. Oh, if that was just a movie, it would be top 3. It's incredible, but it's a great setup into Revenge of the Sith, but also the last season coincides with it. It takes place during it with other characters that we are close with during Attack of the Clones, but it's fun because Attack of the Clones, something so small with Mace Windu cutting off Jango Fett's head.
Right.
That one sequence actually led to a giant storyline where Boba Fett as a kid is trying to kill Mace Windu in the show. So it's interesting. But so yes, this movie is not the best. It's easily the worst Star Wars film. You think it's the second worst, but that's fine. Let's get into your number 10, or your number 9, and your number 9 would be The Phantom Menace, episode 1. Why did you rank this one as above the others?
I just did not like this one.
You didn't like Phantom Menace either?
Right?
But you didn't like it at all.
Yeah, it's okay.
See, see. Here's the thing. I remember my dad telling me when I asked him about Star Wars films, I'm like, "Oh, Attack of the Clones, that's the worst one." He goes, "Star Wars is like pizza. There's always something good about it."
Yeah, yes, exactly. There's not a bad Star Wars at all. But
see, and that's funny for me because I enjoy every single Star Wars film, even though I think every single one of them has an issue except like 2 of them, which, again, your ranking is completely different than mine, which is going to be fun in that fact, because my bottom 2 is Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, and then it goes into Solo, Rogue One, and above that. So Phantom Menace, the best part about this is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah. I like that.
I love Liam Neeson. I love Liam Neeson in the role. I wish we could have gotten a little bit more of him in there. I think he's great. Liam Neeson seems to be like, yeah, I'm a Jedi.
Right, exactly. He plays the role well.
Yeah, and same with Ewan McGregor. Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he plays it great as a younger version of him, first time ever. Easily, one of my favorite Star Wars characters, top 3, if not my favorite right now after Clone Wars series, is Darth Maul, which you don't know this.
After I watch it.
So, Darth Maul obviously died in this, correct?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Well, he's not dead. Remember Solo. He's alive in Solo, and that takes place afterwards, so you'll find out in Clone Wars why he survived, how he survived. But everything they did in there just showed up so much for Darth Maul. But talking about Phantom Menace, easily the best part about this, the pod racing's fun.
Yep, great scene.
The relationship between Anakin and Padme is a little bit weird still. The age thing just gross. 10 years, I think. I don't even know. It's just, he's a child, and we have the kid from, I think it's Jingle All the Way, correct?
Yeah, one of our favorite Christmas movies.
It is the best Christmas movie, guys. That and Elf. But Phantom Menace, anything else throwing into there, the best sequence is the last lightsaber duel between Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Maul, which is called Duel Fates. Do you know why it is called Duel Fates?
No, I do not.
So, it's called Duel Fates because pretty much it is in the hands of, in the sense of, a lot of people like to theorize that if Qui-Gon Jinn would have not died in this moment, he would have gone on to train Anakin Skywalker, and he would not have become onto the dark side. But since he died and Obi-Wan did that, Obi-Wan did not want to train Anakin. That's why his number... But yeah, number 9, Phantom Menace. Pod racing's fun. The lightsaber duels are cool. There's a lot of weird, dumb stuff in there, though.
But that scene is like a throwback to like Ben-Hur.
Definitely. And also, what do you think about Jar Jar Binks?
You don't want to know.
So it's funny. We're sitting at the dinner table. My girlfriend's talking. Well, he's talking about it. He goes, God, who would like Jar Jar Binks? Well, my girlfriend said.
It's her number one character.
And there you go, guys. And it was a very awkward conversation right after that. But Jar Jar Binks, yes. Me so sorry. Sorry if I just killed your ears. Coming in at number 8, though, I'm surprised at how low this one is. It's Rogue One, the first spin-off Star Wars film ever. And why is this one at your number 8?
Because Solo, I had to rank those, and it was between that and Solo. They were kind of a flip-flop, but I like Solo. I thought it was a good story.
And you like Rogue One, or so you still liked it. And obviously, this is cool how it ties into A New Hope correctly.
Yes. That was very cool when you explained that to me, because I'd never noticed that before. I'd never really paid attention or watched that close, but that transition was very cool to see it like in the same day.
And because you started A New Hope right after, right?
Yep.
So then it's like you go straight into it. It's great. What do you think of the CGI on Princess Leia at the end?
That was good. I mean, it's good for me, right?
Can you notice it at all?
No, in some angles maybe.
Okay. So I remember when I took, when Grammy took me, his mother, took me to see Rogue One, we went and saw it, and Moff Tarkin, who I've told you was a fully CGI character, could you tell he was fully CGI'd?
No, absolutely not.
So it's funny, when I watch it, I knew he was dead. I knew in real life that the actor had passed away. I saw that, I'm like, he's dead though. How'd they do that, guys? How'd they do that? And I remember when I took Grammy to see it, I didn't tell her anything about it. I just wanted to see it. And I was like, hey. And she goes, I didn't know he was still alive. He looks really good. And I said, no, he passed away a long time ago. They CGI'd in him. It's incredible what they can do nowadays.
Sure, right. Absolutely.
There's a lot of rumors that Paul Walker might be in the next Fast and Furious. We will see about that.
Oh, that was crazy.
If they could fully CGI him in there, I'll be absolutely insane. I don't think he should be in. That is a different discussion for a different time. Rogue One, though, I think this one's pretty boring. It's surprising, though. A lot of people think this is the best film Disney has done with the Star Wars era. Okay. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. I don't know all that back history like you do, so I just kind of enjoy the films and the ride that they take.
And see, for me, Rogue One, the best thing about it is it's being a prequel to A New Hope, and I think the characters are so underdeveloped. There's good characters in there, but a lot of them are so underdeveloped. My favorite character is K2SO, the droid, by all means, and Disney Plus is getting a spinoff of Cassian and him before Rogue One. Are you excited about that at all?
Not yet.
Not yet at all. You did like Mandalorian, though.
Yes, I did. I did enjoy that. It was easy to watch, though, a half hour.
Yeah. So I have a question. If you had to rank Mandalorian in there, would it be in the top?
It would slip in there in the top 5, 6, right in there.
Okay, cool. It would probably be up there for me as well. But yeah, Rogue One, for me, there's not a lot to talk about this one. There's some cool action sequences. Easily, it's a slower starting movie, the way it kind of builds apart. The first 2 acts are very slow for me every time I've watched it, especially the middle part. I don't know if that kind of feels the same for you.
Yes, it did. It did.
And the third act is absolutely incredible. The Darth Vader sequence is one of the best sequences in Star Wars history ever. Did you love that moment when Darth Vader ignites his lightsaber and just goes ham and killing all the rebels?
Yes. I mean, it's the one time you really see him lose some control.
Well, yeah, and you see him at his full peak control and potential. I always wanted to see more of that Darth Vader, and I hope we do in the future, which we'll talk about when we get to a certain movie in here about more Darth Vader. But Rogue One definitely is a film that many people either think is boring, is their favorite Star Wars film. For me, it's good. I enjoy every Star Wars film. It's a cool little prequel to the beginning of it, and it's awesome how they pretty much came up with this film around the concept of the plot hole of how did they find out about the Death Star's main weakness.
Right, exactly. I mean, they needed to fill that gap. Yeah,
and it has good performances. There's some great action sequences, but Rogue One, it's one of the films that I don't like to rewatch. Do you see yourself rewatching this one anytime soon?
One of those, if you're flipping around and it's on, you might leave it there for a little bit, but I don't think I'd sit down and watch it.
Again, guys, my dad is ranking the Star Wars films. Coming up, his number 7 is Solo: A Star Wars Story. The film that it's actually the lowest box office for Star Wars films. It only made like $300 million worldwide. This film did terrible at the box office. And many people have issues with this film. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. But I still have issues with it. So tell me about this. Why do you like this one so much? My girlfriend, this was actually the first Star Wars film she ever watched, and she really likes this one. What made you like Solo so much?
Well, fun, right? I mean, It's not the dark undertones that you have with some of the other Star Wars.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? I think this is actually the grittiest Star Wars film. It goes down to the underworld, the mobsters, everything about that. And you get that opening action sequence, the war sequence of when he's in the actual war, part of the stormtroopers. I didn't get that in Rogue One, guys. I expected Rogue One to be way more gritty besides that Darth Vader scene. But the thing I like about this film is, did you like Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo?
Yeah, he did well. I thought he played him well.
See, many people did not like him in that role. But personally, my favorite character in here is Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. He killed it.
Yes, he was very good at the gambling table. Yes.
And you liked his performance?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
He was perfect. I still want a spin-off of just him. Or Kira. Emilia Clarke does an excellent job in here as well, and I want a spin-off film with her. What did you think about her?
Yeah, that was an interesting story role.
And did you expect Darth Maul at the very end?
No, I did not, but surprised.
Yeah, and it's funny. So I didn't get to talk about this in Rogue One. Half of Rogue One was reshot. The whole battle sequence at the end was completely reshot and changed at the last minute. And Solo was the same thing. The original directors of this film were fired. 2 weeks left in the filming, and Ron Howard came in to finish the film and reshoot half of it. It is a very big thing. The script is completely different. The villain in Solo, Paul Bettany's character, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, he was not the original villain of this film. They changed a lot.
Oh my goodness, in the last 2 weeks of filming?
Yeah, so they had to go back and reshoot like half the movie. So there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes of the Disney Star Wars stuff, which we'll get into because you don't know any of this. So, but Solo's a fun movie. I enjoy it. It has some good action sequences. A lot of the stuff when you actually get to see him going through the parsecs, the whole thing that he's super famous for. What do you think about that whole sequence of him flying around?
It's cool, and it relates and it ties in some of the older stuff.
Now, a controversial character in this is L3, the robot. Everyone thinks she's fucking annoying. Do you think the same thing?
I don't want to curse, but yes.
You think she's annoying? Okay, cool. I like her, but a lot of people think she's annoying. A lot of people think her and Lando had a thing going on. Did you think that same thing?
No, but I could see it now.
It's Star Wars, guys. Coming out on number 6 is going to be The Last Jedi. Now, this is the film that completely broke the fan base. Many people hated this film. Many people loved this film. It's the highest rated film on Rotten Tomatoes, if I'm not wrong. Rian Johnson directed this, who did the films such as Looper and Knives Out most recently. And for me, The Last Jedi was one of my most anticipated films of all time because coming off of Force Awakens. I love Force Awakens. I love Rian Johnson's Looper. I think that's one of the best sci-fi films of the last decade. I think it was the last decade that it came out, but it was excellent. Last Jedi comes out. I walk out. I didn't know how to feel about the film. All my expectations were thrown out the window. Every theory I had for 2 years waiting for this film, thrown out, completely not even happened. What did you think about this film overall?
I just enjoy the ride, man. I don't overthink it at all.
Not at all. So what were some of your favorite moments then?
I don't know. I mean, the whole movie's good, right? You gotta walk me through this part, brother.
Okay. So, The Last Jedi, you have different storylines kind of going about. So, let's start with my favorite one, which is Kylo Ren, Rey, and Luke. That whole thing with the Force connection and, of course, Luke and everything he's going about and all the issues he's kind of having. What did you think about that, the kind of Skype connection Rey and Kylo Ren had together, and in general, all that stuff with the training with Rey as well?
Right, so you're trying to figure out that relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Like why they have that connection the whole time, right? Yeah. And how they're related. But, I thought he kind of let everybody down, didn't he?
By not joining Luke's a grumpy old fuck. And to be honest, that's why people don't like the movie. When he came up and he just threw the lightsaber behind him, everyone was mad. And for me, I was kind of mad too. But I love that because, many people were like, that's not... But that's my thing. Many people were like, that's not the Luke Skywalker I knew back in the day. Well, guys, he's old. Old people get mad easily. If you were that and you were the savior and then you let down everyone, wouldn't you kind of feel the same way, just want to be by yourself?
I don't know. You look, what else is he doing?
He's milking a cow.
Okay, well, exactly. So save the universe, milk a cow.
I mean, is he really going to save the universe? He let everyone down? He tried to kill Kylo Ren as a kid. And that's something people forget. Kylo Ren is one of the best characters in Star Wars because he's just a frightened little child. But yeah, Last Jedi broke the fan base. A lot of the reasons because of Luke. For me, that wasn't my issue with the film. Personally, my issue is all the other subplots in this, which goes to Poe Dameron. I thought he was kind of wasted in this film completely. I thought a lot of his stuff with I don't remember the purple-haired lady at this point. Laura Dern's character was kind of wasted as well. And I remember when I saw this, Carrie Fisher had passed away, and Leia seemingly died in the beginning of this. I said, "Oh my God, did they actually just kill Leia?"
You're right.
So, and that's the thing about Last Jedi, you know, Poe's kind of storyline is null and void. It was really cool when Laura Dern went into hyperdrive and destroyed that ship. What do you think?
Yeah, her going out with a bang, definitely.
And it's one of the best moments in Star Wars for me, because seeing that in the theaters, you could hear a pen drop with how silent it was. It was it's kind of like watching A Quiet Place, but like there's so much noise, and then all of a sudden it's just silent. And it's cool because space, there's no sound. Right. So it's really cool how they did that. So also with Last Jedi, you also have Finn and Rose. Did you like Rose as a character? You think she was annoying? You can be honest.
I mean, it's okay. You know, I mean, I'm not big on a whole lot of characters.
Many people think she's annoying. Many people really like her. I like her. I just think her and Finn's storyline was completely wasted. But the cool thing I like about that is that it kind of shows a different side, of course, when you meet Benicio del Toro's character and how he screws them over. What did you think about that whole section?
I always like Benicio, though. Yeah. So it was very interesting character. And for a second, I had to ask myself, is it Benicio? Yeah. So.
And he's always good at like transforming into those roles. And of course, you also have BB-8 in here being awesome as well. Definitely this film picks up in the third act when Finn has his whole fight with Captain Phasma on that ship. They get away. They get to Crate, the salt planet. And what did you think about that whole last action sequence?
Well, we thought about that. That was where the salt turned red, right?
I want you guys to know my parents thought way too much about the salt. Like, way too much. Like, they asked me questions that I just put into perspective that the salt is like sand and the red part is like dirt.
But it was an interesting scene anyway. So.
It definitely was. And did you like when Luke came back? Did you even notice that he looked younger? Did you just think he cleaned up?
I just thought he cleaned up. You know what I mean? So it was.
Were you surprised when he just disappeared?
No, because look what he does.
I know, but I'm saying, like, did you think that was actually him the whole time?
Well, it was weird. Yeah, of course, you know, and then all of a sudden when he disappeared, that's when you're like, ah.
Yeah, and then he dies, and I love that moment. I love what it had to do with it, but easily my favorite moment in the whole entire film, one of my favorite action sequences, is when Rey is in the throne room with Snoke and Kylo Ren kills Snoke. What did you think about that moment? Were you expecting that?
No, I did not expect that, but it was very cool.
It was amazing, and that whole action sequence is incredible. Like, people have slowed mode it down to be like how you can see the little bit of like things. Like, there's a part where Rey grabs his hip to like kick up. It's amazing.
Huh. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, and there's other people who have like put music to it, like Led Zeppelin and stuff, and it just looks amazing. But I love the cinematography in that scene. It looks amazing. The colors. I've always contended that even though The Last Jedi is not high on my ranking list, this is actually down a little bit lower for me. I think this is the best made Star Wars film as quality comes, when it comes to thematics, when it comes to cinematography, direction, even performances nonetheless. And, you know, we'll get into Rise of Skywalker in a second because that comes up a little bit later, but there's some things that happen behind the scenes with that a lot of stuff changed. So, but Last Jedi is at your number 6. At your number 5, and before we get to his top 5, guys, again, hit that like and subscribe button, as well as comment down below and let me know what your guys' Star Wars ranking is. What is your father's ranking as well, or your mother's, whoever you want to get their ranking. Let's hear it down below, and thank you so much for joining me on this, Dad.
I'd be interested to see what other parents' rankings are.
I would be too. And also, if you guys really like this video, we are going to be planning to make him watch every single Marvel film and every single Harry Potter film. And yes, he will be ranking them. I will force him to. Just know those videos will not come out for another probably 30 weeks. 30, unless this blows up. Unless this video blows up, then you'll do them all real fast.
Right? Yeah, sure.
Every day off I have, you're watching a Marvel film. So, jumping into your number 5, it is The Force Awakens. This is actually my second favorite Star Wars film. A lot of the reason being probably nostalgic. I waited 8 hours in line with my friend George to get a great seat. We got the best seats in the house. First people in line, got in there, and I cried when the opening crawl came up. I was so in love with this film, and I still am. It's the most rewatchable Star Wars film for me personally. What was your expectations going into this one after just going through the whole series chronologically and starting this last trilogy?
Well, I mean, it was nice. I mean, it was nice to go back and watch these and again, the nostalgia and the build-up and things.
And Han Solo coming back into play. And Han Solo is one of my favorite characters, and seeing him be kind of the main passing of the baton to these people were the best. For me, did you have any sequences that you didn't like? Did you not like the sequence with the giant octopus running through the hallway?
I mean, that was all okay. I mean, some of that you think of as filler.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm curious on your thoughts on this. What did you think? There's some big moments that happen in here, because a lot of the marketing for this film showed that Finn was going to be the Jedi, maybe, but it turned out to be Rey, which was a big surprise for me. And Rey is one of my favorite Star Wars characters as well now because of what she's kind of doing for this generation of kids. So kind of jumping into this, what are your thoughts on Finn, Rey, Poe, these new 3 characters that we kind of jumped into?
Well, I like Rey. I like that, showing women that they can be strong and in charge and self and confident, right? And the other characters were okay. Like you said, I think Poe, again, is this strong character, but he doesn't get much airtime. He gets right there and then boom.
Funny thing is, he was supposed to die in Force Awakens. When he disappeared, he was supposed to be dead, but then they loved Oscar Isaac so much, he said, hey, I'll come back and do more. Now he talks crap about the franchise.
That's, wow.
He hated where his character went.
Huh.
So, but I agree. I think he's one of the characters that should have had more. It's funny, in the novelization of this film, there's actually dialogue between Rey and Poe, assuming that they could have a relationship probably. But they more hint at that with Kylo Ren and her, of course. But jumping in this as well, what was it like seeing Carrie Fisher, of course, back, Han Solo himself, Harrison Ford?
Always good to see them.
It really is. And for me, this film always kills me because you get to that point when you find out it is Han Solo's son, Carrie Fisher, or Princess Leia and Han Solo's son that is the villain. What did you think of that?
Right, yeah. I mean, that came out of left field.
Did you remember that from when we first watched it?
No.
Oh, you
I
really
didn't. I really didn't pay attention back then. This time I watched with a purpose for the whole story.
And you got into that story and you were involved with it, and were you shocked when you heard that was their son?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's insane to see what Snoke had done in stuff. There's a comic book going into Kylo Ren's backstory and showing how he got in, how Snoke influenced him. It's very dark, but very interesting. And for me, I loved seeing that relationship. But of course, I always look at this sequence between Han and Kylo Ren when it comes between them, and he ends up killing Han Solo. Were you hurt in this moment?
Well, of course, man. It's
Harrison Ford's been saying for years that Han Solo should have died in Episode 6, but he came back and he died in this one. And definitely, this was one of the hardest moments ever. I always get goosebumps when this moment comes up. The score, everything is kind of going about. I love their dialogue, though. Their dialogue of, I don't know if I have the strength to do this. Many people have theories that Kylo Ren was always going to be redeemed. We will talk about that soon. And the way to redeem him was that, truthfully, Han Solo ignited the lightsaber because he knew Snoke would have eventually just killed Kylo Ren if he didn't. I don't know if that theory is true. Do you believe that Han Solo did it to spare his son a little bit of evilness?
Yeah, I do. I think he thought, I'll take the sins away of, my son.
Some people thought Han Solo survived. He died, though. He blew up. He blew up on that planet pretty fast. So number 5 was your Force Awakens. Number 4 is going to be Rise of Skywalker, the brand new film that came out in December. And also, many of the fan base hated on this one because this one had a lot of issues because the fan base was not happy with Last Jedi, and definitely Disney took the script and said, all right, we're going to get rid of anything that has to do with Last Jedi, and pretty much changed it. Kept some things, but really changed it and made this pretty much a film that was a sequel to The Force Awakens while also being a sequel to that sequel, making for a very big, fast-paced film. There's a huge script out there called Duel of Fates, which is actually supposed to be the original script for this film that Colin Trevorrow wrote and was supposed to direct, which you guys should definitely check out. I don't know if he would have directed it precisely, but I loved everything. It really tied together everything. It tied together, they were going to be on Coruscant, which is the original planets that the Jedi were on in Attack of the Clones and everything about that. It's supposed to be like a post-apocalyptic, all that. Rey would have had her double-bladed lightsaber, but we didn't get that. Rise of Skywalker. Why is this at your number 4?
I just enjoyed the movie. I mean, the nostalgia of it.
You think it's a ton of fun?
Oh, yeah. Well, a good ride.
It definitely is. And for me, Rise of Skywalker is a film that actually improves the more that I see it. I notice many issues with it, some things that I just wish I could change, but I notice that with every Star Wars film. There's some things I would change. Rise of Skywalker for me is not the most satisfying conclusion it possibly could have been, but it's one that still filled the nostalgic bits. It's the one that puts a smile on your face. It gets you in there. And in a sense, it's more of a way of, we're going to answer every question you want to answer. You want to know where Snoke came? He's a clone. Did you see that happening?
No, not until. Right.
Did you know Palpatine was in this at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because they marketed him, and I was like, oh, he's coming back. Thought he died. And many of the cast has kind of come out and said they weren't happy with this film at all. They weren't happy with the ending. Many people wanted different things. Were you happy with how they portrayed Carrie Fisher in here?
I thought it was okay.
I thought they did a good job. There's not much you can do with the
right.
person who's passed away. But I really love that moment in particular, and I thought it was one of the most special things. Diving into as well, Rey, you finally find out that she's Rey Palpatine. Always thought she was going to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi, but that didn't know how it happened. What did you think about this?
Right. You think she's a Jedi or something, from the old land or whatever.
Now, did you like that she was a Palpatine? Did you expect that when the Force lightning shot out of her hand?
No, I didn't. Well, I didn't. I liked that part, but I didn't like that she was a Palpatine.
Did you think Chewbacca died in that moment too?
Yes, I did.
Same here. I remember I turned to my friend in the theater at the screening. I said, if this is true, I'm going to be pretty pissed at this film.
Your mom said the same thing.
She did. She kept asking me, is he dead? Is he dead? I said, just keep watching. You'll find out. And that kind of goes about. You get a little bit more Poe and Finn, which have a lot of good dialogue in here. I thought they had great chemistry. And, of course, they really double down on that relationship in here. And this one of my friends really equivalates this to be kind of like a feeling like an Indiana Jones film. You're traveling to all these different types of planets. You're traveling to a bunch of different locations, different sets of characters. You get a little bit of Poe's background history with Zori. Did you like the Zori new character?
Right. I can take or leave that.
Okay. Did you like Kerry Russell's character?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that was Kerry Russell's character. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Well.
Yeah. And then did you like Johanna, who they found on the Death Star planet with?
I didn't like. I'm sorry.
You didn't like her? The bow and arrow girl?
Yes. Yeah.
Why not?
Just not a big fan.
Okay. I liked her. I liked that there was more people like Finn in this world because they've never really doubled down on the defective stormtroopers out there in the world. So it was interesting to say the least. But also kind of jumping into this as well with Star Wars. Rise of Skywalker also. Did you like the ending of this? Did you feel satisfied through the conclusion of all the films you watched?
Yeah, I'm one of those that knows it's hard to end a film. So
were you completely satisfied?
Not completely, but
what would you have liked to have seen different?
It could always be different. It could always be better.
See, for me, a lot of people also have issues with the ending of how she fights Palpatine. Some people wanted a lightsaber duel in that part. Did you want that?
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. And personally for me, I loved when Kylo Ren turned. Did you like that moment? I love when Han Solo showed up.
Yeah. That's all great, right?
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, oh my god, I love this. I love that he's back. I like how he turned. I believe in it. A little bit rushed, but he was trying to finish off the series, trying to conclude everything. And even jumping into when Rey gets all the Force ghosts talking to her. Did you like that moment? Did you notice some of the voices?
Yeah, it was a trip. Yeah,
you notice all the voices?
I don't know them all, but I knew there were voices that I didn't know.
Yeah. Which some of those was Kanan from Star Wars Rebels, played by Freddie Prinze Jr. You also had Ahsoka from the Clone Wars series, and also probably going to be in Mandalorian Season 2, so you guys should definitely watch Clone Wars to know who she is before that comes up. That's Anakin's Padawan. That's his person he trained.
Interesting.
Are you interested in her now?
Well, I'm interested in watching this.
It's funny. People hated her more than Jar Jar Binks when she debuted, and now she's one of the best characters in Star Wars. It's pretty hilarious how that works.
It is. Huh, that's crazy.
People say that could have happened to Jar Jar.
I don't know.
It's also rumored Jar Jar Binks might be in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
I hope not.
Some people are rumored that he's a beard in it, and that he's just a poor Gungan who has nothing going for his life.
So back to his roots.
Pretty much. But Rise of Skywalker is at your number 4. You enjoyed it. You liked it. But you think it wasn't ended in the best way. It was a fun time, right? So let's get to your top 3, which is, of course, the original trilogy. Coming in at number 3 is Return of the Jedi. Why did you like this one at number 3?
I don't know. They were good. It was hard to rank them. And, man, I just had to go with the ones I really liked and that took me back to being a kid.
Definitely. And I remember when you sat me down to watch all three of these. We were at the first house we moved into in Arizona. You said we're going to watch these, and we watched them all in one day. And Return of the Jedi, when I was younger, I remember I loved that film. It was my favorite one because I loved the Ewoks. I loved the battle sequences. The whole aerial space fights are amazing. And the whole planet of Endor is actually really cool. What did you think about that? Do you still like it? Does it hold up for you?
Yep, I'm an outdoorsman, so I like that type of stuff.
Okay, and did you like how the film started, how it kind of was like an epilogue to Empire Strikes Back?
Yep, I like the tie-in.
Are you sad how fast Boba Fett died?
Nah.
I'm curious, do you remember how fast he died? Like that he literally only has like 10 minutes of footage and at all in all Star Wars?
Right. What a bummer. What a great character.
Definitely, and he could show up in Mandalorian Season 2, guys. We'll see. Even throwing this, do you think Jabba the Hutt is disgusting?
Absolutely.
I know. I'm surprised that they still have that stuff on Disney+.
Is that right?
They have edited a lot of stuff out in different movies, like Splash, the butt scene when she's jumping in the water. Completely edited it out.
Why?
Because it's Disney. But jumping in, Return of the Jedi, it's a great conclusion to the original trilogy. It's a ton of fun. Ewoks, battles, all this sorts of stuff. The main big part of this film that everyone remembers is that throne room sequence between Darth Vader, Palpatine, and Luke Skywalker. How do you feel in that moment? What do you feel about it?
Oh, it was a crazy scene. It was awesome, though.
See? And that's the thing. I love how Return of the Jedi kind of gets that. And did you feel like Darth Vader was redeemed in that moment?
I don't know about redeemed, man. Think about all the damage he'd done.
But do you think that he did something? Do you think Luke trusted him in that moment?
Well, sure. I mean, but still.
I get that. So let's jump into your number two. Number two is A New Hope. A New Hope, the very first Star Wars film ever created. Did you see this one in theaters? Were you alive?
Yeah, I was alive.
Did you see it in theaters, though?
So for me, the first one, it was built up so much that by the time I got to it, it was like,
It didn't live up. But now does it? But does it work better now?
To come back around, right? I mean,
so you like this film more now than the first time?
Yeah, definitely, because it's just like now I wasn't looking for something that everybody was talking.
Because this is why, when I was looking at your ranking, I was shocked to see the original trilogy in the top 3. I didn't expect that. I expected, to be honest, the prequels to more be up there than anything else.
The storytelling, the effects for back then that they
still hold up to today.
They're not bad.
They still hold up. They're great.
Yep.
For me, when I was younger, I didn't like this one as much. I always thought it was boring.
Right.
But watching it again, it's a fast-paced movie. It gets you right in. And I always thought it was going to be small, but they always take... And I like how some of the films and books and comics have now taken some of that dialogue and changed it and tinkered it into be so much more.
Right. I mean, they do. They turn it up a notch.
And like seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi now going through the whole thing, you kind of know some of his past. Darth Vader, Anakin's past. Do you believe that Darth Vader is one of the best villains ever?
Villains? Yeah, yes, definitely.
Top 5? Not iconic, just like top 5 villains ever.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Who else would be your top 5? Like some other ones.
Jaws.
The shark, guys, the shark. What about Hans Gruber? Some people say Hans Gruber from Die Hard should be in there.
Oh, he's a pussy.
Oh, okay, that's how it goes. But A New Hope, it started off Star Wars. It's a fun time. I enjoy this one. A lot of the time, it feels like Force Awakens. I think I like Force Awakens more just because I think it's a little bit more faster paced. Kind of gets you in it. I like seeing these new characters. And personally, for me, my favorite original trilogy is Empire Strikes Back, which we'll talk about in a second. But A New Hope, it builds up, has a lot of fun flares to it. And, the funny thing about the original trilogy, it was not planned. So when Luke and Leia have a little kiss, it doesn't, they don't know they're siblings yet.
Disney hasn't edited that out.
Was it in the Disney Plus version? I don't know. You don't remember? It was quite a while when he watched it. Again, he probably watched this, over 20 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Like, easily 20 weeks. Like, you probably started this back in the beginning of quarantine at this point. And you just finished this in July, guys. Just finished this. So, A New Hope, you enjoy. Empire Strikes Back, your favorite film. Is this the best Star Wars film you've ever watched, then?
Well, obviously. I mean,
but why is it your number one?
I just like the scenery. I like the way it went, and I like the way the direction it took.
Did you remember the twist?
The environment? No, I mean I don't.
You don't remember the twist of him being his father?
Well, yeah, but I mean I didn't pay attention, right? I just watched it for the whole story.
Yeah. And so, kind of going through that, what was like one of your favorite moments about it? Was it everything on Cloud City? Was it the Darth Vader between Luke? Was it the Hoth battle? Was it Luke training with Yoda? What was it?
I like the Luke training with Yoda. I mean, that's iconic and classic, and the doubts and the meeting him and all that good stuff.
And Yoda's just a kooky little dude in this one. He's like a kooky Kermit the Frog with the Force powers, and it's cool to see how crazy he is in it. And, I love that training sequence. It's just so great. But even adding in there, for me, the Battle of Hoth is incredible, the way it looks. This is still, besides Last Jedi, I think this is the next best made Star Wars film. Yeah. And even today, the effects hold up, everything with that. What do you think about the Wampa that Luke had to fight off in the cave?
Oh, that? No. That was cool. I didn't necessarily like that scene as much.
Really? So did you think the film was a little bit slow and then kind of started getting going?
Yep, exactly. Okay.
So what do you think about Cloud City? Lando comes into play in the first time in ever Star Wars when these films are coming out.
Right, but Lando's just kind of Lando, man.
Did you know he was going to portray him? Did you remember that scene?
No, I didn't. No.
So you were kind of shocked when Darth Vader was sitting there?
Oh, yeah.
And, it's fun in that ride to see where they all go. The thing I love about Empire Strikes Back is it kind of focuses more on Darth Vader than anyone else in the Star Wars lore at this time and place. And I love how they were able to really focus in on that and as him as a character.
Right.
And in this film, the villain wins at the very end of it, getting what they needed. It's an intense film. It's a great one. And Empire Strikes Back is your favorite. It's my favorite, guys, and I'm sure it's many of your guys's. Do you have anything else to add into this ranking?
Nope. I had some fun, man. I hope you all do too. Hit like
button. I'm sure you're done with this video. I'm sure you're ready to go do something else.
Let's see, man. We'll go do something.
We're going to go watch Marvel or Harry Potter next. I do not know. I really want him to do the Marvel ones. You're going to have to take notes through Marvel. Yeah. You're going to have to take notes. So I want to do one more thing kind of running through here. So let's go into your number 11, Revenge of the Sith. What's your score? Out of 10.
Oh, dude, I didn't like that one.
So what?
Like a 5.
5. Okay, what about Attack of the Clones?
That's 4.5.
Why is that
number 10?
It's
number 1. Well, no. Well,
why is it number 10?
What we do.
So why is Attack of the Clones a 4 and Revenge of the Sith is a 5?
You're insane.
Okay, we're just gonna go Attack of the Clones is his number 11 actually. Revenge of the Sith is number 10. Okay, Phantom Menace, what's your score?
No, I gave it to you. It's ranked. We're done.
Okay, we're done, guys. Thank you guys again so much for clicking on this. You guys are seriously all the best. Again, hit that like and subscribe button, comment down below, and of course, until next time, stay classy.